Alright guys, part 8. This will be the last episode. We are going to do Aracer Setup and first start. If you're new to this video, found this video, don't know who I am, I've taken a CB300 and I made it fit in that Grom. I have a whole how-to series with links with everything you need in the description, as well as the playlist is in the description. So if you found this video and you want to know how we did it, links are down there. This episode I'm going to go through my way of setting up Aracer. There's probably thousands of other different ways to do it. This is a way that I've done it on every build that I've done for Groms, and it's going to be the same way I do for the 300. It's pretty easy. It's just going through a few settings, flashing the map, and yeah, that's about it. So, like I said, hundreds of thousands of other ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. I do everything through the app. I don't use the PC. Even though I have an RC2, thank you to Aracer, I just use the app because I auto-tune. I don't know how, I kind of know how tuning goes, but I'm not building a race bike here. I'm building a bike so I can go 300 miles in the mountain a day and not have to worry about it. So I'm going to set up the camera. I'm going to have screen capture on my phone, which I'll put on the screen to show you what I'm doing. It's a lot easier to see than watching it through a camera that's focused on a phone. So let's set this up. First thing we're going to do is open up the Aracer app. Once the app's open, this is the paid version. Turn your bike on. I have it plugged in just so I don't wear the battery out. First time connecting, you want to swipe to the right. Go to settings. And you're going to want to select your ECU that's down here. Make sure your Bluetooth is on. And it will scan. And then once your Bluetooth blink pops up, you select it. Pops up, select it. I have multiple blinks because I have different bikes I'm working on. Device found. Reading the map. Connected. So now we're going to back out. I will make note. Make sure your kill switch is off. Your ECU won't turn on with your kill switch engaged. So now we're connected to the ECU. You can kind of see the parameters. We're going to go into quick burn. Honda, it should detect what you have. If not, you can select your model. So you can select what here. I have a CBR, so we're doing that one. Stock map. That's all that's available. And then you just hit go to flash. And then, are you sure you want to do this to the Honda CBR 300R? Yes. That is the ECU we're using. And then it will go through this process. And you're quick burning. You hear the fuel pump kick in. You hear all the engine stuff. Relays, turn her over, and that's it. So we're flashed. All you want to do is turn the key, count to 20.
A few moments later.
Key it back on. You should see in the top right, found device, go through all the settings, and then say connected. So now we're going to go into calibration. We're going to scroll down to TPS learn, throttle position sensor. We're going to hit start learn. And then twist the throttle till it reads 100 and hold it. Learn complete, you let go. I do this 3 times. I don't know why, I just do. OCD, maybe. Learn complete. So now we're going to hit the back button. We're going to scroll down to you see auto tune number 12. We're going to turn that on, back. We're going to go down to wideband O2 control or closed loop, which is 13. We're going to turn that off. It's already off. Now we're going to go to decel fuel cut, which is number 11. Turn that off. All this is when you let off the throttle, when you have it on, it cuts fuel immediately and it's very jerky. Having it off kind of keeps a smooth throttle, which is what I prefer. We're going to go to, let's see, what else we got in here? Coolant fan. I have it set, I'm actually going to set it at 90 degrees Celsius. That's when it's going to kick on. And we're going to go to fuel base. It's at 100. I'm going to knock it down to, we'll start at 80 and see where the air-fuel ratio is when we start the bike up, not in auto-tune. And everything else, you don't really got to do anything else. Auto-tune does everything. This is the table auto-tune uses. So it will search for 13.3 always until you're wide open throttle. And then you'll see it goes from 13.1 down to 12.5, which is pretty good. It's pretty safe. Idle RPM. When we start the bike, we're going to adjust this to match what the bike's idling. I don't know if it does anything. I've always noticed it's a little bit smoother. And RPM limit. We're going to set this to the factory CBR 300 RPM limit, which is
12 seconds later.
10,500. So we're going to go back into Aracer. Set this to 10,005. Since the motor's stock rod, we're not going to mess with it. Leave it at this. Go there. So once it's red and then changes to white, that means it's saved. Just for a little note. Backfire. We'll mess with this, but not right now. But this is how you turn it on. So open throttle. You can see you can set it to whenever you want it to stop at, really. So like two-step. Think of it as two-step. And then the second it turns off is what your speed is at. Close backfire. Close throttle is when you let off the throttle, you get the pops. That's what most people use. Idle lobe. That's the sound of your idle. I've never messed with it. The one time I did, it stalled, so I never messed with it. But I probably will this time around since I got a stock motor and not a built Grom motor. Spark angle. This is your timing. Really have no need to mess with this unless you really know what you're doing, but I've never messed with it. Leave it the way it is. You don't have to mess with it. Quick shift. That's if you have the quick shifter for Aracer, which I do not yet. Speed gain. I'm not quite positive how speed is done on the CBR. I think it's the same as the Grom. It goes by a sensor, so it's not controlled by the ECU, so you can't really change it. So I think we are good to go for a first start. So I'm going to key this off. Actually, we'll go over this screen. So this is the main dash of your Aracer. All these gauges you can change. So right now I have engine temp as my main gauge, just because I have a DJ1 right here which reads my air-fuel ratio, which you can see in the camera. But to change these gauges to whatever you want, you just hold it down with your finger and you get all these to pop up. And most of these are usable, which is nice. So I'm going to leave my engine temperature there. For wideband AFR, there's a few different AFRs. So like the first one on the list right here is your narrowband. Useless if you're using Aracer. You don't really need it. The one you want is AFR _ wideband 02 _ cal. That is going to be what your wideband is reading. It will be, if you're scrolling through here, you'll see that one dancing around. That's the one you want to use. That's what I have on the top right. This little bar right here I have set for volts. This one's my RPM, which I really never look. Throttle position, percentage, right there, RPM down here. And all these little squares, you can actually move them around if you wanted to. You just click and hold and slide it around where you want. You can't change them. It's just everything in that list is right here if you wanted to have more settings shown there. Main reason why I run the DJ1 gauge, this can read everything, I believe. I use it for AFR, so I can use my phone for GPS sometimes, because when I ride I go wherever. That's pretty much it. So on the Mini 5 and the RC2, auto tune kicks in on when your temperature reads 61 degrees Celsius. You can run Fahrenheit on here. I've been running Aracer before that was even an option, so I leave it in Celsius because that's what I'm used to. For the Mini Plus 2 or all the other Aracer products that are not RC2 and Mini 5, I believe the auto tune temperature is 81 degrees Celsius. Now on the Mini 5 and the RC2, you can change that to whatever you want auto tune to turn on. 61 is a pretty good temperature. Your bike's pretty warmed up by then, so that's what I leave it at. I should also say, if I can swipe this over, when you're auto tuning, you want to leave this screen on for auto tune. This is a graph. All these dots will show your RPM range and your throttle. So RPMs, throttle percentages, and you want it to be green. Anything orange or red is lean. Light blue to blue is rich. So when you're riding, focus on this map and focus on the areas that are not green, and you just ride that. I'd say I recommend 200-ish miles. Some people do it in 50, but you can't do all your types of riding in 50 miles constantly and have a perfect tune. So that's why I say 200 miles. Once you hit 200 miles, that map should be mostly green. You want to turn auto tune off, and then you want to turn closed loop on. So having closed loop on, your bike is still adjusting to, say, the temperature, the elevation changes, and then when you turn your bike off, it reverts back to the last saved auto tune map. And then say the next day is 90 degrees and you're at sea level. Closed loop will adjust it for that and adjust it faster than auto tune. But then when you turn your bike off, it reverts back to the base map, we should say, that you created. So then say the next day it's 50 degrees and it's cool, damp, and you're in the mountains. Your bike will quickly adjust to that elevation change and the temperature change, keeping your bike running at its peak, keeping the tune on top of its game, and then again turn the key, goes back to your last auto tune map. I never ever undo your AF1, never turn out closed loop off. It's just, this is a safe way to keep your bike running at its best depending on the day. This is why I prefer this over a dyno tune, because your dyno tune, it's that tune that no matter what the temperature is, no matter what the day is. So like when I go to Tennessee, my auto tune map that's here runs like ass in Tennessee because I'm in the mountains. The temperature change is different. So running that closed loop adjusts for that, and it does it quickly, and it's really nice. So when you're done tuning, or when you're auto tuning, I should say, never use the kill switch. If you turn your bike off with the kill switch, you will lose the map that you just created. Always use the key. That will trigger your Aracer to autosave. After your first auto tuning session you do, always save the map manually. And to do that, we go into maps. I have a few maps here, and then you save the map. This is why your bike's running, not turned off. You save the map to whatever you want to call it. And I always put whatever build it is, base map. Then you save it, back out, go back in, go to maps, and to load it, say you turned your bike off, you walk away. To load it, you go back into maps, then you select the map you want to load, you select it, and it'll say load map. Yes, you load it. So now you have your base map. You only have to save it once. You don't even have to save it. I save it, recommend saving it, because say you're tuning and all of a sudden your O2 sensor dies. Instead of starting over, you can reload that map. So say you're 100 miles away from home, your O2 sensor shits the bed, and your bike's running like ass. You turn off auto tune, you turn off closed loop, should already be off if you're auto tuning, and you load that map. So therefore you're running a safer map to ride on just to get you home. And it's not auto tuning, it's like a can tune as loud cars drive by. So you're running a can tune pretty much, and you can get your bike home without it blowing up or whatever. For signs of your O2 sensor going bad, your AFR will read 18 flat like it is now because the bike's off. It will read 25 flat, or when you're just cruising, your air-fuel ratio is like 9.0 to 18.0 to 14.0 to 11.0. It is everywhere. To know your sensor's working properly, you will see this read anywhere between 13.0 to 13.4 fluctuating. That's just the bike tuning as you're riding. That's how you know it's good. So again, highly recommend saving your first map. And then once you do your full tune and you're happy with your auto tune, save that final map and label it final. So then, like I said, if your O2 sensor dies, you have a canned map, you can still ride for the day. Your bike's not really going to suffer that much. And it'll tide you over until you can get a new sensor. I'll have a link in the description of the replacement sensors that I use. You can get a warranty through whoever you bought your Aracer from. I'm not sure how long the warranty is, but I buy the one on Amazon just because I have it right away, just in case. There's no downtime. So I'm going to get this bike out. We're done. We're set up here. We're good to go. We can turn the bike off. I'm going to wheel this outside, and we're going to do a first start. Alright guys, I forgot to record an outro. I do that a lot. I don't know why. But I am going to end the video. Let's shut my door to my truck. I'm going to end the video series here for the 300 swap. It's been a month since I recorded the first start, so I've already brought it to Tennessee. I've got about 2,000 miles on it already. Not one problem. It ran great in Tennessee. I did about 1,400 miles. For the 6 days I was down there for the small bore bash, small bore rally, and all that other stuff. So tried and true, it's proven. And I'm gonna tell you, I had more fun on this than I did on my big bores down there. Although big bores are fun, they're just a different type of fun. And I'm gonna wrap it up here right now. It's all torn apart because I needed a battery to put in my buddy's bike to do some testing. And I am getting a different headlight put on, and I won't reveal those secrets. But no more of doing the how-to of this. I'm gonna consider it done. I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing. I went from like 200 subscribers to almost 700, so that's pretty cool. I'm glad you guys like it. So I'll do another video that's not part of this series that will go over, you know, what the bike looks like, how it's done, and there's some cool place that's not in my garage. I'll have some drive-bys. Yeah, that's about it. If you guys need plug-and-play harnesses, I now make absolute full plug-and-play harnesses for swaps to use the Grom dash, Grom ignition, Grom taillight, all that crap. I sell those. I also have plug-and-play adapter kits. They're all ready for every single plug. If you already have a harness, both those options, it saves you about 6 hours of wiring if you want to extend all your wiring and stuff and mount it wherever the harness fits the best. You can contact me in the description. My group's down there. We got about 1,800 members now, and it's by far the best swap Grom group on Facebook. Just there's tons of information. It's run by the swap gurus. I'm not the guru, but there's other gurus that gave me the information to do this. So thank you for all those people, especially John, Cody, James, you know, all those guys. I know I'm forgetting names. I appreciate everyone that helped me do this, and I am thankful for you guys for watching and making this series, to me, a success, because I have a perfectly running bike now, and I'm hoping it will help you guys do this. And on that note, thank you guys for watching this little series, and I hope you tune in for more videos that I have. Share this video, do what you gotta do, and I'll see you in another one later.